Have you ever lost someone you loved deeply? When it happens, the absence feels impossible to fill. We find ourselves trapped in questions with no answers. Why did this happen? Where did they go? And perhaps the most haunting, what do I do with the love that's still here? These questions echo like whispers in a silent universe, a pain that seems endless. When we face loss, we crave explanations, something to make the pain bearable. Some turn to spiritual beliefs, others to the larger meaning of life. But what if that meaning simply doesn't exist? What if death has no higher purpose? Does that make the pain worse? Or could it set us free? Science tells us the universe is indifferent. We are stardust, the result of cosmic explosions billions of years ago. There's no evidence that the universe plans or explains what happens in our lives. For many, this idea feels overwhelming. But is there another way to look at it? This is where nihilism steps in, offering a different perspective. It doesn't seek answers from the cosmos or a universal purpose. Instead, it embraces the void and gives us the freedom to fill it. At first glance, nihilism may seem cold, but when understood, it can be a source of comfort and even personal meaning. When we think about the loss of a loved one, perhaps the key isn't in asking why, but in accepting what it teaches us. And that's what this video will explore. How nihilism can help us face grief, embrace reality, and hold on to the love that never truly leaves. Death is an unavoidable reality. Every day, about 150,000 people leave this world, according to the World Health Organization. That number is staggering, but it reminds us of a profound truth. Death is not an exception. It's part of life's natural cycle. The universe doesn't treat death as something special. It simply happens, like a star burning out when it runs out of fuel. Yet, the impact of death on our lives is enormous. Science explains that the energy of our bodies doesn't vanish. It transforms. It returns to the earth, the air, even the stars. But emotionally, we struggle against this reality. We long for something more, something that can make the emptiness easier to bear. But do we truly need cosmic assurances to face loss? Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche believed that to truly embrace life, we must accept both its beauty and its transience. He called this amor fati, love of fate, whatever it may be. There's no universal plan, no guiding hand behind it all. What we have is the present, and it's there that we find meaning. From a cosmic perspective, we are tiny, microscopic specks in a vast, indifferent universe. But we are made of the same atoms as stars, planets, and other forms of life. Isn't that extraordinary? We are the universe becoming aware of itself. This means that even without a grand purpose, our existence is a rare and incredible phenomenon. So, when we lose someone, maybe the challenge isn't to understand why it happened, but to accept that loss is part of this natural cycle. The absence of meaning doesn't make their impact on us any less significant. The void isn't a punishment or a test. It's simply a result of living. And within that void lies the freedom to define what their presence and their absence mean to us. When people hear the word nihilism, they often think of despair or hopelessness. But that's a misunderstanding. Nihilism at its core is about acceptance. Nothing has a preordained meaning. And rather than being terrifying, this absence of universal meaning can be profoundly liberating. It gives us the power to create our own meanings, free from rules imposed by the cosmos or external forces. This perspective is transformative when it comes to loss. Death forces us to confront the void, the lack of answers, the silence where we wish for explanations. But nihilism reminds us that we don't need to find those answers outside ourselves. If the universe doesn't impose meaning, then we are free to decide what life, love, and death mean to us. Take a moment to reflect. The love you felt for the person you lost doesn't vanish just because they're no longer here. That love lives on in your memories, in the stories you tell, and in the ways they've shaped who you are. Nihilism helps us recognize that these moments and emotions are what truly matter. They are the meaning we create here and now. Nietzsche famously said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Nihilism optimistically reframes this. What if the why isn't handed to us but is something we create? What if the reality of death, as painful as it is, reminds us of life's impermanence, and that this impermanence is what makes it beautiful? Grief is unavoidable, but by embracing the void, we can free ourselves from the weight of needing cosmic justification. Instead, we can fill that emptiness with the love, memories, and actions we choose. Looking into the void and saying, "I will decide what this means," is an act of courage. And that decision can transform pain into purpose. Loss changes us. It forces us to confront the fragility of life and the fleeting nature of every moment we experience. At first, the pain can feel overwhelming, like a void that will never be filled. But over time, we start to realize that this pain can become something else. The love we felt doesn't disappear. It becomes the fuel for something new, something meaningful. This is where nihilism offers a powerful lens. If life has no universal meaning, the same is true for grief. It isn't inherently a punishment or a lesson. It's simply part of being human. But that gives us the freedom to transform it. Pain isn't the end of the story. It's a bridge to something greater. Think about the stories of people who took their grief and turned it into action. A parent who lost a child and started a foundation. Someone who channeled their emotions into art, creating something timeless. These acts don't erase the pain, but they reshape it, giving it a purpose rooted in their love for the person they lost. Science provides a parallel to this idea. Just as a star's death can create the elements necessary for new stars and planets, the impact of someone we love can ripple through our lives long after they're gone. Their influence lives in the choices we make, the memories we carry, and the ways we continue their legacy. When we honor someone by living with purpose, by being kind, creating something meaningful, or helping others, we transform the emptiness of their absence into something enduring. Grief becomes not just a reminder of loss, but a source of strength. It doesn't mean forgetting or moving on. It means carrying their light forward in a way that shapes the world around us. Accepting that life is finite is one of the hardest existential challenges we face. The idea that everything ends, including us and those we love, can feel overwhelming. But paradoxically, it's this fragility that makes life so extraordinary. Knowing that it doesn't last forever reminds us to cherish every fleeting moment. Imagine if life were eternal. Would we still value the small, beautiful moments? A warm hug, a quiet laugh, or a sunset painting the sky? Probably not. It's the knowledge that these moments are temporary that gives them weight. As Alan Watts said, "It's the music that makes the dance, and every song must end." Understanding this helps us embrace life with greater intensity. From a scientific perspective, our existence is a brief flash in the vast timeline of the universe. Humans have existed for roughly 300,000 years, a mere blink compared to the universe's 13.8 billion years. In that scale, we might seem insignificant. Yet, as Carl Sagan put it, we are a way for the universe to know itself. That makes every life, however brief, uniquely significant. Nihilism encourages us to embrace life's impermanence without fear. There's no eternal guarantee, no grand plan. But that's not a flaw. It's a gift. This absence of certainty frees us to live in the present, to focus on the here and now. When we accept that life is short, we stop wasting time on regrets or unspoken words. We start seeing the beauty in the ordinary and appreciate what we have before it's gone. In the end, it's not about eternity. It's about the moments we create and the meaning we give to them while we're here. And that's more than enough to make life valuable. Let's return to the question we started with. Where does the love we feel for someone go when they're gone? The answer is simple. It doesn't go anywhere. That love stays alive in us, in the memories we hold, the lessons they taught us, and the ways they changed who we are. Nihilism reminds us that if the universe is indifferent, we are the ones who give meaning to our lives and our losses. The absence of cosmic answers doesn't diminish the love we shared. Instead, it makes that love even more profound, because it's entirely ours. Science echoes this idea. The atoms that made up the person we loved are still here, spread across the earth, the air, and even the stars. The physical form may be gone, but the energy remains. And more importantly, their emotional impact lives on through us. We are their legacy. When we accept life's impermanence, we also learn to embrace its beauty. Loss reminds us to cherish what we have while it lasts, and to honor those we've lost by continuing to live with purpose. It's not about finding a universal meaning. It's about creating our own meaning, moment by moment. The universe may not care, but we do. And that's enough to transform absence into presence, pain into purpose, and fleeting lives into lasting connections. The love we carry for those who have left us isn't bound by time or space. It lives on in every story we tell, every choice we make, and every moment we savor. And maybe that's all the meaning we need to keep that love alive in the way we live.